Hello and good evening. It's Friday again. Saying that, I don't think I've been live all week. So hopefully some of you will be able to join me tonight when we make the bag of the month, which should have been on Tuesday. But due to circumstances which you all know about, now is the first time that I could do this. And, oh, I know I'm going to need my phone, aren't I? Because, which I have got here, because I'm not going to be able to see comments, am I? So let's have a look, see who we have got. Sure it's going to come up here. And there we are. I best take that down like that. Oh, lovely. So we've got a few people here. Hello, Dorothy, Mary. Let's see if I get my... I hope you've all been making your phone stands, because I'm going to pop mine just there so that I can see. Oh, there's Josie and Jane and Julie and Catherine. Good evening to you all. In actual fact, it might be good if I put it on my stand. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Sue. Hello, Raina. I was hoping to come on a little bit earlier than this, because I know you'll all be asking, how's Martin? Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Virginia. So I'll wait just a little while. There's quite a few of you there. But so that I'm not saying it all again and again, let me tell you some other things first of all. But Martin is home and he is getting a little bit better. So, firstly, what we're going to do tonight, the Yvonne bag. There are kits on the website, and I know there was a little problem because I didn't put in an amount for discount. So I've changed that all up now. There is a code for a discount should you want to buy a kit, and that's entirely up to you. There will be 3 options, one of which there's not a picture there because I'm making it tonight as per usual. Let's see, hello Linda, hello Alison and Sandra and Amanda and Gita and Rena and Pippa. Lovely to see you all. There was something else I was going to say as well. Oh yes, I do believe the Aliso irons, the Tula Pink mini irons, are on their way. All I can see is I've got a package coming, and now that order from ages ago has been allocated, so I'm assuming it's going to be those. So I have put a post in the group if you would like one. I can't remember what the price was, but there's another post further down the timeline which will say what they are. But I just want you to comment underneath if you reserved one before. I have got a list, but I do think I have got a couple of spare ones. I ordered a few more than need be. Okay. Oh, there's Marilyn and Nikki and Bev. Okay, so with, oh yeah, there's 50 of you there. So yes, Martin's back. It wasn't until midnight. We got to the hospital about, what was it, 6:30, something like that, on Wednesday evening, to be told at midnight that they'll be admitting him. Great. So I had to drive home in the dark. Awful. I got to bed after 1, very tired. He then rang about 10:30 next morning to say he was being discharged. Can I come and pick him up? So yes, I do. But then he had to wait for meds at the pharmacy, who delayed and delayed. I sat outdoors on a double yellow line because I wasn't going to go in the car park of the hospital and pay yet another £15. So I sat there for nearly 2 hours before he came out with no meds at all. So luckily he is feeling a bit better, he's breathing much better, and his SATs levels, that was the reason, his SATs levels, oxygenated blood levels was not high enough, and that's why they kept him in. So I'm hoping I'm not getting it, I tell you. Touch wood, I feel okay, but I have tried to steer clear of him, but yes. So that is what, yes, but to come out with none when I'd waited all that time. So anyhow, I might have to rush off and get some water. Bear with. Right, I'm back. I'm here. Sorry. It's because I haven't been talking much all day, because I've had things to do. I'm just glad that all the parcels were posted out before we had all of that palaver. Anyhow, thank you for dancing and singing. So hopefully we're all on the mend, and as I say, I hope it doesn't come to me, but he must have had it for a little while before we even knew. Well, I'd put the suggestion forward. Oh, you don't think it's COVID? No, I haven't got COVID. Don't be ridiculous. Then he did. So managed to avoid it for 4 years and then get it now. So never mind, never mind. Oh, fabulous, Jack. Right, so I am going to put this just here and I'll show you. We'll crack on because we've got about an hour. So the bag that I have designed today came about from, I don't think I've got it here, a small version. A small version, which I haven't got near me, and I thought that could, oops, it stopped there now. That could be a larger bag. Now, okay, that's better. Righty-ho. So, no, we haven't got it here. I thought it might be just laying around. So here is a version, and I tell you, it is very simple to do. And I've got a little plastic bag in there because the and just one handle, which you could make as long as you like. Oh, please don't start now. So that's the one version, which is the William Morris. And this one here is the cream leaf. As you can see, I've done a longer handle on this one. And the one I'm going to make tonight is done with some beautiful butterfly fabric. So, as I say, I think some years ago, I did a small version of this and I thought, let's make it bigger. One zip, one piece of outer fabric, one piece of lining fabric, and if you would like, wadding. So I have used fusible fleece in this one, but in this one I haven't. So it's a little bit softer, but because I've used a tapestry canvas, it doesn't really need it. And it depends on your sewing machine as to whether it takes a little bit of bulk, because it's just along the top edge where if your machine doesn't like anything too thick, I would try and get away without any wadding. But so it worked fine with this, and tonight the one I'm doing is the same tapestry canvas as this, but I'm going to put some wadding in it just to see what difference there would be. But the choice is absolutely yours. As I say, you can put whatever length handle you like on there as well. This one goes nicely over my shoulder and under my armpit, which is what I like, just so it's nicely protected. And I thought it'd be quite nice to have, I was going to, didn't get a chance, but make a little dangly bit, because there's a couple of things that I've made and not shown you yet, where you can put a nice little decorative embellishment hanging off your zip pull. So, shall we get cracking? Let's have a look here. So, Kirsty. Oh, I'm glad you're in, Kirsty. Jolly good. And hello, Yvonne. Now, I don't know if anybody knows Joan North, but I've been waiting for her to get back to me. I've emailed and messaged and all sorts, but she hasn't come back to me. She was a member and then her payment didn't come through, so she had to be removed, I'm afraid. Obviously, she's not in here, but if anybody knows her, if you could give a little nudge that she needs to just make the payment for this month and then she'll be able to see it all. So, shall we begin? Hello, Elaine. Right, let's pop those aside. Yeah, I haven't got anywhere to hang them. So what we're going to need, a 4-inch width of fabric, which I just made my handle. In the usual way, where is my little... So this bit is going to be my top band. But for doing your handles, if you fold your fabric in half and press, and then you fold the raw edge to that centre crease on both sides, and then up like that, so, and then press, that's it, so it goes like that. All the instructions say it, and then fold it in half and press and stitch down both sides, and then you have this. The PDF is in the files already, so you can download that, print, save, whatever you like to do. That's right, I'm just going to trim that little end off there. I can hear a seagull. I don't think it is, it must be a pigeon. So yes, so whatever length you like. I've done mine 20 inches. Oh, it's a couple of jays or jackdaws or something along those lines. Yes, so that's the handle piece. You will need another piece that is 4 inches wide and about 9 to 10 inches long for the top band. You will then need a zip, which hopefully, where's my zip gone? Oh, my zip is over here. So there is my fabric. And if you're making another one, you could make it, if you want it smaller or less wide, you make it less long. The measurements are all in the PDF, and then just a length as deep as you like it. This one, in actual fact, is 12. So you'll need exactly the same in lining fabric. And then I've got, you'll want a 12-inch or longer zip, which I have here. The wadding, I chose to cut 1 inch smaller on dimensions so that there wasn't any wadding in the seams. And then I've just, as you can see, fused that to the back with an outer where there's none. It's just going through fabric. Okay, so what do we do first? So we'll get the machine cranked up, and so that you can see down here. Okay, see that messy bit behind me? It's all my work in progress. There we go. So, how this works, the bag will actually be like this. It will be folded. Whoops. There we are. And this is going to be the top of your bag because the zip is going to come vertically. So we start off, the zip is going to go onto one of the short sides, and you just make sure with your fabric is directional and has certain things. If this were trees, you want to be looking at it like this with your trees the right way up. So this is going to be the top of the bag and this is going to be the bottom. So the bottom of your zip wants to be at the bottom here. So we'll start with this side first of all, and I'm just going to flip that over like that, and I'm going to take my zip and I'm going to put it right side down, so zipper pull down towards the top of the bag. So if your zip is that bit longer than your 12 inches, great. And we'll have a little bit of excess at each end. So I'm just going to pop a couple of clips just to hold that in place. And you can do this in 2 parts. If you like to stitch down here first of all to secure your zip to the edge, you can. Or I quite often, or I nearly always, do it in, oh, for goodness sake, do it in one go. So I will then take my lining fabric and I'm going to put that right side down onto, oh, I'm getting in a right muddle here with things in the right place. There we are. Right side down onto the zip edge. So here's the zip. So I'm just going to line that up, and this is why I put the clip on there, and then I'll just pop that together there. I don't bother so much with the next ones down, but if you like to pin or clip it the whole way down, that is absolutely fine. So also, if you need to put a zipper foot on, do, or my standard foot is fortunately the right width for just being able to do, put a zip in. So we will just start stitching down, and as you know, I like to align it as I go. So just see if we can get that in there a little bit better. That's it. So I'm just going to line that zip up, bring the lining fabric down, and I just put my finger down on here just to hold that in place. And I'm lining with mine the edge of my foot with the edge of the fabric. And what I find is always my lining fabric always just shifts a little bit, so we'll trim that off where it's too long across here. Right, so I've stitched the whole way across there, and then all I'm going to do is pull the lining fabric back so I can reveal the zip. So there is my zip, and then I'm going to push the lining fabric underneath here. I'll turn it round this way because I'm going to top stitch now as well, and it's quite a long piece, so I'll just fold this over. But what I do need to do is pull my lining fabric, where are we, away from the zip. So underneath here, I like to pull that away. I'm going to trim that excess there. And on this occasion, I usually stitch very close to the edge of the zip on the fabric here. But on this one, I've done it 1/4 inch away. So I'm making sure the fabric under here, I'm pulling that lining fabric away from the top of the zip so that that is completely pulled. And I'm not going to get a pleat of fabric on the back there. So just pull that away and stitch down here. You can use a contrast thread if you want to, or something that coordinates. I'm actually using white, but it actually sinks into the fabric, so you can't really see it that well. Okay, so there is my top stitching down there. Let's have a look, and that's quite nice on the back. So top stitching down there. Okay, so let's pop that back down with the zip there, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the other edge. So I'm just pulling from the other end so that the fabric is right sides together, and I'm going to, if I put it like this, I'm just going to line up my outer fabric with the edges there, so they're all lined up here and with the other side of the zip. So I'm going to pop a clip on there. This is where I do like to, because sometimes it does tend to pull the fabric away from the zip. So I might even put 3 clips on there just to hold them together. Because then with my lining fabric, that is going to go, let's go underneath and come up that way. So can you see? That is going to come up underneath the clips so that I've got one outer fabric and one of the lining fabric as a like a little bag. Okay, so what we're going to do now, let's pop it down here. So I've turned it the other way up so that I can put the lining fabric. So this is where I lined up my outer fabric with the zip, and then on the other side we're going to line up the lining fabric there like so, and then I'm just going to reposition these clips so they are all together, and just make sure that lines up with that side. So that is looking good. So what I'm going to do now is I'll stitch from this side. It doesn't really matter which, but as per usual, my unthread my needle, which is just what we want, and we'll stitch across here. So I can see they are all nicely aligned, and that's better, and go all the way across here. Right, now what I'm going to do now, I need to top stitch like I did previously. So, evening Karen and Lorraine, I'm going to undo the zip so that I can then turn it to the other side. That's it, let's just makes it easier. So that we've got, there we go. So I've got the lining just how it's going to be when it's finished. But if we turn it, so I'll undo that zip all the way and then turn it so that we have the right side on the outside, and we just need to stitch along this other zipped edge. I'm not liking this, I'm just going to move the camera here because it's not in the best position. I'm just going to move it around here. So bear with a minute because it's not, that's it. So you're on the floor, I think, at the minute. Whoops. Let's just tighten that up. There we go. Right. That's better. There we go. That is much better. Sorry about that. So I've got the one side here that's already top stitched. I need to top stitch this side now. So we're going to pull that lining fabric away from the zip under here, and then I'm going to top stitch along here. So we'll just take that to the machine here. And as I say, I'm just pulling that away. If you can get to an ironing board, it is quite good to actually press the fabric here so that the lining, but I can get my hand into here so that I can pull that lining fabric away from my outer fabric. So let's just pop that there and then stitch down this on the fabric, on the outer fabric, away from the zip. And I've actually done a longer stitch here. There we go. So this is where having a longer zip, it allows me to get right to the end of that top stitching. Okay, so we can now, let's just zip that up again. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to trim this little bit of stretched lining. Where are we? Just up to here, so that it's just level with the zip there. Just trim that off. Okay, so we have, I'm pulling the lining fabric inside and just lining that up. There we go. That's, I didn't there. Let's line that up, pull that down so that the lining fabric is on the inside. And what I want to do is, I've got the zip right on the edge here, and at this other end is the fold of the fabric. So I'm just looking where my lining fabric is here. I didn't do a very good job. What you want to have is your outer fabric and your lining fabric exactly the same sizes. But Trisha obviously didn't trim this very well, and it's actually a little bit wider. So I'm just going to trim this so it's level. I was doing it in a bit of a hurry. There we go. That's it, that's trimmed that off. So yes, when you do your cutting, just make sure that it's the right, both are exactly the same. So we've got our, let's perhaps put it this way, the zip here and the fold here. And what we're going to do, if I just make a marker, so here, at this bottom edge here, I'm just going to give that a little clip, which will give me a V. So I've got a V in my fabric there and on the outer fabric. And I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So just make sure your zip is right on the top. And then when you pull down to that bottom edge there, that fold, you're clipping through the lining and the outer fabric as well. So we've got that little nick. That's quite a big nick, but we'll make that go. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is turn this to the wrong side. Okay, so there is our wrong side, and we can do that zip up again. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull the lining off so that we have got lining fabric on lining fabric and outer fabric on outer fabric. Let's just go back just a little bit there. So there is my outer and my lining. And it's right, I've just unthreaded my needle again. Right, let's just da-de-da-de-da. Right, around there, around there. Right, let's pop that under there. Okay, so I've got my lining on top of lining and my outer on top of outer. Now what I want to do now, that little nick that I made in the side, I want to bring that up to the zip, the centre of the zip. So there. Can you see how I've lined that with the centre coil of the zip? So we'll just put a little pin there. And then the same with our outer fabric. I'm just rolling that around, and there is my little mark. So I can just pull those lining ones to the side. So then that little nick is going to go onto the zip coil here centrally. So then I can take that away, and I'm just going to line up the lining fabric with the outer fabric. So pull those together. Now you're making sure we're doing this at the bottom end of the zip. We're not doing it at the zip pull end. This is the top of the bag and this is the bottom here. So let's just line these up nicely, and those should line up across there. And we'll put a clip on there, and then we'll do the same on this side here. So let's just pull that up to there. So I'm just making sure the lining and there we go, those are level. I have to put a pin in there. So that's nice and level. Similarly here, just make sure your lining fabrics, your outer fabrics and the lining. So there's that one there. Making sure they're nice and level, because if you don't get those level, when we turn it back, you'll find that it's not caught up. So what we're going to do now, we're going to stitch across this edge here. And I actually did a little bit wider seam allowance, so perhaps do just over the 1/4 inch. And we're going straight over. So that was all nicely lined up there. We'll go straight over the zip and all the way over to that edge. Now I'm reversing there, not that it really matters. So there we have this is the bottom edge. So what we then want to do, we want to mark a 1.5 inch square on this corner and this corner. So let's find this. And the 1.5 is going from the stitched line. So there is my 1.5. There is my 1. So it makes it look like a rectangle, but it is actually a 1.5 inch square from the stitched line. So I do the same just here, 1.5, 1.5, and across there. So I'm now going to cut those out. That's it. So that's to there. That's to there. And cut this one too. And that one too. Now this means that we are going to have all of our seams nicely, all the raw edges nicely encapsulated. There's no raw edges. We've got it lined and no raw edges at all. Okay, so now you know what we do with cutout corners. We squash them, don't we? We open them up and we squash them down. But we've also got the lining in that same area as well. So if we, let me do it this way so you can see. If we take this, the outer fabric corner, put our finger in there and just squash that down. Okay, you see, that's what I haven't got that lined up. Now this is what I was saying about having everything lined up. That is coming apart there because I haven't stitched my seam very well at all, and because I hadn't got them lined up. So this is when you will notice when something is not quite right. Now, let me just show you what my the fabric has slipped down so that, there we go, the top edges are not actually lined up. Can you see my fabric here? They're not lined up properly, which is why it hasn't been caught, but we can salvage this. It doesn't look as if it's lined up at all the whole way across. Oh, for goodness sake. Right, let's go again. So let's pull that up to there. So I'm now really realigning that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull that there and I'm going to stitch that there. So if this happens to you, you know exactly what to do. So I'm stitching that again, just across there. So I know that is stitched. And then I'm going to pop this down, which also you can see that's not pulled up very well at all. So let's just pull that up there and line that much better. And I'm going to stitch across there as well. There we go. I hope I caught that seam well. We'll see when I come to it, won't I? Yes, I think that's okay. So now we have got, now that is done properly. Okay, so we're going to take these cutout corners. So we're going to open that and just flatten that down. And this is why it fits really nicely, because we did that 1.5 inch from the stitch line. And I'm going to pop a clip on there and here. Now this is where you also want them to line up nicely, otherwise you'll get a hole in the bottom of the bag. So then we're looking at this part, which is our lining. So if you can manipulate this so that the lining comes towards it and makes it a little bit easier. But if you pop your finger in the lining, flatten it down like we did, Looks complicated, but it's not. Flatten it down like I have there, and then you can align that with the piece that we've already done. Take the clip off, and I say this is why on this occasion I use my clips, because that's lining them all up and there as well. So now I've got both pieces. This is the outer, this is the lining, both lined up on each other. Okay, so now all we're going to do is stitch across here. So I can take that. Okay, I think tonight is all about rethreading the machine. It's working with a big piece of fabric, and it keeps unthreading my needle. There we go. Right, so straight under the machine, make sure they're still all lined up. And again, if you want to do a bigger seam allowance, just slightly more than our ½ inch, I mean our ¼ inch, it will make sure that the seam is all taken in. So I can see that that is stitched across there. So the next one, at this point actually, before I'm going to trim off, because I sometimes forget, trim off this zip end. There we go. So then we need to do the same at this end as well. So there we have our outer fabric. Here we have our outer fabric, and we are going to squash that, and you can see that fits really nicely. So we'll pop our clip where the seam comes together, and there we go, and here. And then I'm going to do the same with the lining. So I've opened that, squashed it flat, and take that against the fabric here, the outer fabric. And this, oh no, I've just clipped that, that's it, clip that a little bit better. And there we go. So we can line that one up, and then on the other side too. And as I say, manipulate your fabric so that, there we go, the phone fell over. So just bring that. This just doesn't like me tonight. It's just not behaving. That's it. Let's put our clips on there. So I've got my clips holding all of that together just there and there. So again, we will stitch across here, and hopefully it won't unthread the machine, and across there all the way to the other side, and back. So there we have, we can see that is all stitched in across there. So now without, and this will help the lining to stay down in the bag because it's held together. So let's just pop the lining out here, and then, so there is our lining in here. So you can see how that is nicely, no raw edges anywhere. So if we turn it now to the right side, like so, and we can push out those box corners so that we can see they are not, there's no hole there. Nope, fortunately no hole. And similarly on this side. Just push that out and push that out too. That bit of fabric, a bit of thread there. Okay. So I'm pushing that down into the bottom of the bag, but also making sure that it comes up to the top as well. So just bring that round, pulling that up. Okay. So the inside of your bag looks very neat. And as I say, no raw edges, no seams to be covered. So the next thing we are going to do is we have our, so we've got our lining fabric lining up with the top of the bag here. So I'm just pulling that around so that that's, there we go. There we go. And what we're going to look at doing now is lining up again. Here is our zip. So we're not going to move that yet. Let's do it on this side here. So we're looking at our little notch and our lining notch as well. So we are lining that with our zip here and the top of the bag and that one there. Okay, so I've lined again that little notch, and what I'm going to do is put a clip either side of the zip holding that all together. And then here on both of these edges, I'll just put my finger in there just to pull that out to the side. And then I'm going to put a pin right in that very edge fold. So there is a pin there. Let's put one in this side as well, because I'm using that pin. This is where we're going to form a little pleat. So now I'm going to, just holding this pin on this side, I'm going to push it in because I want this pin to move up to where this, can you see I'm moving that towards where my clip is, and that's pushed together so that when I flatten that down, and you keep that lined up with the top and then flatten that one down as well, what we've done is form, I'm going to put a binding clip here just to hold that, we've formed a pleat. Can you see that bit? Now I'm going to make sure that's lined up because it's down too far at the minute. So let's just pull that up to the top. So it's lined up with the top just there, and bring that down so that they all line up together. That's better. And I might even use another pin in there because it does move a little bit. Okay, so I'm just lining that up together, and we can put the clip on there, but just make sure these pieces in the inside of the pleat come up to the top, otherwise they're not going to be secure. Let's get another little, okay, so we've done that one. Then we're going to do exactly the same on this other side here. So again, take that pin and just open this, and we're just bringing the pin across to where this clip is, just here. So we can either just fold it in, might be easier just to, just like we did the cutout corners, and bring that pin into where this clip is, and then fold it back on itself so that we've got two pleats. Can you see there? So I'm just trying to get it nicely onto the camera for you. Let's just hold that and then bring that one down, because there's the pin, and that should then line up nicely across there. Okay, so another binding clip too, because what you're trying to do is keep all these edges lined up at the top, and all it is a little inverted M, if you like. So there they are. So what you must do now, we've got all enough clips and pins in place. If we just undo the zip, because we're going to stitch across the top. So we just flatten that down. And then again, like I was saying, to do a slightly wider seam allowance, I would do about 1/2 inch seam allowance. So come in that little bit further, and that way it will mean that you've caught all of those edges in along the top. So just take that out as we go. Oh, there's a pin. And when we come to the zip, we're going over there. Just make sure the zip is just pushed together. Oh, there's a pin there as well. Okay, let's just take that clip, making sure all those layers are nicely together there, so that we've got everything trapped in. Okay, so let's have a look. So we've gone across there. Now what we can do is have a look there. Yeah, that's where, yeah, that's all caught in nicely. So you can just check. Let's see, it just feels, no, that's caught in there nicely. Lovely. So having got that, so you can see our bag shape coming together. So all we need to do now, we can just flatten that down a bit if you want. I am going to trim off these ends of the zip. Just make sure that your zip pull is down. So my zip pull is down here. We're going to take our handles and we're going to put those on the back, so the opposite side to our zip. And then I'm going to place that 1.5 inches in from the edge, and then 1.5 inches from the other side as well. And I'm just going to secure those down. So there they are, so that I can take the clips off ready for the next bit. So as long as you're within that seam allowance, it's fine. So make sure they're trapped on that top edge so that they are going nowhere. So there is our handle. So keep those handles facing down, because we're not going to stitch through them at this point in time. So back to the front where our zip is. I'm now going to pop the top band underneath. So we are going to put it right side facing up, and we're going to line up that raw edge with the raw edge here. Now I've actually cut this a little bit longer than need be, but it's better to have it too long than not long enough. So I'm just trimming that away just a little bit. And if we pop a clip where the zip is, and then this end here, I'm going to fold around the end, and I'm going to pop a clip on there as well. And then at this end too, I'm just going to fold that around as well. So, and pop a clip on there. And then you can put some clips here as well if you want to make sure that is held to the top and there as well, but I'll do that as I go along. So now I'm just going to stitch across this top edge. So let's take that clip off and start sewing. And I'll just reverse at that end and holding that down. And we can take that one off. So as I say, it's a little bit bulky. It may be, if you're using cotton fabric, absolutely fine. And it may be that that will take the wadding easily, but this tapestry canvas being that little bit thicker, you may decide that you don't want to put wadding in there at all. In the kits there will be wadding, so it's your choice. Okay, so having stitched across there, we can then pull up this fabric. Okay, and then I'm just going to fold these ends over. I might even put a little clip there to hold it, and fold that one over as well. Give it a little finger press, nail press. Then we're going to fold that down so that that raw edge there meets the top, meets that top edge. And then I'm going to fold it over once more so that this folded edge here just goes over the stitched line. So, and I'm also making sure that these edges line up nicely as well. So as I say, being that bit thicker, we just want to make sure that those are lined up nicely. If I turn it this way, I can see there. And if it goes, if your top band goes just over where that stitch line is, what it means is you'll be stitching in the ditch rather than through all the layers of the canvas. So, and what we're going to do with this, we're going to stitch the whole way around here. So you want to make sure that your bag handles are still facing down, because you don't want to stitch through those at the moment. So if we start just over this side, let's get rid of that there. So I'm going to use a longer stitch length as well. So as I say, I'm going through this and go a little bit slowly, and I'm stitching, let's come down there. I'm going just below this stitch line, so that, as I say, I'm not stitching into all of the layers. So, and that's going quite nicely across there. And then across the top of the zip, just make sure that that is remaining in the same place. Now the fabric might move as we go across, so to keep that nice and lined up there, we can just move that as we go. Right, so then I'm going to pivot round, because I'm going to sew up this edge. So it is through a little bit more thicker fabric, and then pivot that round again, and I'm going to go across this top edge here. So we're just going, so it's creating a rectangle the whole way around. Okay, and then back round again, down this edge here. So as you can see, I'm going quite slowly, and then keep those in there. Just carry on just where we stopped. So, okay, we just clip that away, and that little bit. There we go. So there we have a nice top edge. There is our zip pull. Now all we need to do now is pull, whoops, we're a bit close there, is pull these handles up. So let's pull the handle so it's just there. And so I'm going to pull it up and pull the top band down onto it. And all we're going to do is stitch just across on the stitching where the handle is. So we'll just pop that under there. And as I say, it's only where, and I'll go backwards and forwards just to make that nice and secure. And then similarly on this side, just pull that handle up and stitch. So I'm stitching across, as you can see, on the stitch line, across the handle. And then we can trim those little bits of threads away. And your bag is complete. That's gone there. A little bit there. So there we go. Nice and easy. So as I say, with this bag size, if you want to change the size up or down, you've got the same technique. Whoops, here we are. The same technique, whatever you do. Oh, it's a pen. Okay. So, oh, still no comments. So that is, as I say, as difficult as it gets, but nice and neat. So let's just have a look. I'll just pop that there for a minute, see what we can see here. Okay, it is unusual, isn't it? I like to do things, I see run-of-the-mill all the time. I love making pouches. I love making pouches. But, you know, life isn't all about every pouch. What's that one now? There we go. Just found a bit of thread hanging off there. So we have that one there. We have this one here. And then we have that one there. So three 3 different ones that they all look that little bit different. A small one, yes, it would. So you can vary the sizes that you want to. As I say, this one was, what was it? 26 by 12. If you wanted to, my original one, which I can't, was I think 6.5 by 10. That's how I started off with the very first one I did, for a lovely little, like a little Percy pouch thing. But I decided I wanted to make it in a bag size. So, I mean, the other thing it could be, it could hang in your bedroom on a door and on a door handle, and you just tuck underwear in there. Or it could have cotton wool balls, anything like that. Gym bag for the grandchildren, yes, yes. Oh, thank you, Sandra. So I always say to you, you have got more than enough fabric. I think the kits work out to £15 with the code. So please use the discount code and enjoy. But yeah, a great games bag, easy to get into. And I say you can still, I would have this over my shoulder. I did think about making adjustable, extendable, but then I thought, you know, it's really quite straightforward, no pattern pieces, just cutting straight lines, rectangles, and only needing wadding, lining and outer fabric. And at that, as I say, this one here, it still feels quite robust because it's canvas fabric, but very easy to sew. Oh, good. Thank you so much. You can hang it in your wardrobe when it, yes, pop your bits and pieces in there. Yep. Okay, we have done very, very well. We're on just about the hour. So I can see you making one of these in an hour. The PDF instructions are in the group in the files, if you want to download those as well. And it seems as though we've got a long time. What are we now with the 9th? Oh, so tomorrow we're a third of the way through August. Can you believe it? There'll soon be bank holiday and it will soon be coming into autumn. Feels like it sometimes, but we've had a nice day today. And hopefully Martin goes onwards and upwards. Okay. Right. Oh, well done, Jack. So, yes, if you can download as soon as you can, it just saves rushing around at the end of the month thinking, oh, did I do that? Did I do that? I make a note of all the ones during the month, just so that I remember. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for joining me tonight. Those of you that are watching afterwards, absolutely fine. This video will remain in the group forever, but the PDF will only be for those in the group for this month. So, okay. Oh, Patsy, have a restful weekend. Yes, actually, I haven't got to, well, no, I'll think about next week's as well. And steering clear of COVID, because I don't want it and I haven't got time to have it. So, yes, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you next Tuesday for Sew-A-Row. And then we'll see after that. But keep an eye out for the Aliso iron. Or no, that won't be till next week. Monday, that should be coming through. And hopefully there's another little bit of new fabric. So we'll see what happens. So, as I say, I've enjoyed your company tonight. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you next week. Bye for now.